How are you? I'm glad that we can always cook together because for me, cooking is the best way to understand another people. Sharing their food is really the most productive way to get into their philosophy and their art. Cooking was the first art for all cultures. Now, I'm telling you this because today's immigrant ancestor group are those who speak Spanish. That is to say, those who came from Mexico. Now, by the middle of the next century, about 7, 8, maybe 9 million people who are Mexican ancestry now in the nation, by the middle of the next century, the Spanish-speaking peoples, or the Latinos, that's the normal word, will be the largest immigrant group in America. Now, that's not a small observation. That's an important matter. So I want to talk about their food. First of all, where do they come from? Well, when we talk about Latinos, we mean people of Mexican descent, and they are one of the first immigrant groups to this country, and certainly one of the most visible, because they enjoy their culture and they seek to maintain it. The other word you hear, and I think probably the more proper word, is the word Chicano. That's the Aztec Indian pronunciation of Mexican, and it was Mexicano, and from that it became Chicano, and now it is Chicano. But it refers to an ancient Indian name for very ancient people of Spanish and Indian, Mexican Indian roots, you see. The Aztecs and the Toltec Indians are the ones we're talking about, civilization that goes back to about 150 BC, 200 years ago. Wonderful culture, fabulous, and it happened again. In the 16th century, the Spaniards conquered Mexico, and you remember Montezuma, the Toltec emperor, fascinating man. He confronted Hernando Cortez in 1519, and the Spanish, I don't want to say took advantage of them, it's much worse than that. Within just a few hundred years, they possibly wiped out the culture. That's a horrible thing to have to say. Well, in 1820, the Mexicans maintained their independence over against Spain, and the battles begun, and then we got in on it in 1846. Now, I didn't know this because I've forgotten my junior high school history, but listen to this. I bet you didn't know either. We bought, in 1846, at the end of the Mexican-American War, we bought Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, parts of Colorado, Nevada, and California from Mexico for $15 million. Isn't that pathetic? You can see that the land of Mexico is really much larger than, in this color, it seems to me much larger than I thought it was. The United States is immediately north, California, Texas, you see, and then south through the Caribbean and down into Panama. But it's an enormous nation and a very dignified nation, it seems to me. And you can't say that all of those people who were simply cut off from their homeland by a line that we drew across their land, see, suddenly we say, no, those of you who live in southern Texas and southern California are no longer Mexicans, now you're Americans. Some of them didn't even know it had happened at the time. A very strange event. We just drew a line right through the land. In some cases, we separated tribes, Mexican Indian tribes, from one another. Suddenly one is an American and the other one is not. It is a Mexican, you see. So we can't call them normal immigrants. They were here from the beginning. They were here before the beginning. And I think they're going to be here long after the end. They're very proud people, and they want to keep their ethnic awareness intact. And I think the best place to see that sort of thing is in California. This is Los Angeles. Oh, I love this place. The Grand Central Market, right in the middle of Los Angeles, is a fascinating place. Craig, my cook, and I just could not believe it. Everywhere we walked in this place, look at the neon signs and all. This place was in drastic disrepair for a long time, but it's becoming beautiful. Now, one of the products that you must know about are tomatillos, those little tomatoes, and then all kinds of peppers. These are Mexican food products. Remember, the Mexicans gave us peppers, along with chocolate. Wonderful things. Fresh peppers and dried peppers of every kind. These are beautiful. You can roast these in the oven, and they'll bring out a flavor that, well, it's just incredible. Craig and I were checking out the pepper trade. They have bins and bins. Smell this, Craig. This marvelous stuff. The peppers are used in a variety of dishes, and you buy them in big bins. The other thing that is common in Mexican food, of course, are legumes. beans of every kind, some rice, but primarily beans. The most popular one being the pinto bean. And I'm buying some pinto beans here from Celestino Lopez at his stall in Grand Central. He also has black beans, and he explained to me that they're for making moros and cristianos, that is to say, Cuban black beans with rice. Tacos to go. This is roast to go, antojitos mexicanos. This is a wonderful place, and it taught me that a taco is not at all what I thought it was. You see, I thought a taco was that deep-fried thing that you buy in those bad drive-ins, but a taco, he's showing me the meats now. He has pork tripe, pork meat, blood sausage, beef cooked until it falls apart, chicken, beef, I'm going to lose you here, beef brains, and deep-fried pork skin that is cooked in sauce and peppers. It's delicious stuff. I decided on the pork. Now watch how he makes a legitimate taco. It's a soft wheat tortilla. Actually, they're two. Look at it. This is about $1.50, I think. Look at that, the amount of meat he puts on. Then he puts on some chopped lettuce and some green onions and a wonderful salsa. All right, this is the big moment. Look at that mustache. I'm so jealous I can't stand it. Let me see. What do we think here, Smith? Oh.
Bravo.
Delicious food. Delicious food. The chorizos that are on display, the Mexican sausages, spicy with pepper and vinegar, pork and beef both, are just absolutely wonderful. This is the Del Rey stall I found fascinating. He has all kinds of special Mexican sugars and peppers and spices. And then, of course, he has dried beef and more chorizo, sausages, and lots of cheeses. The Mexicans love cheeses. And it's not all that jack cheese stuff that we see at American Mexican drive-ins. You should be embarrassed by those places after the show is over. I certainly am. Go with me now to San Francisco. The Dominick's Bakery is a wonderful place. This is Victor, whose grandmother opened the bakery in 1965, and he's the boss now, and he's making corn sticks. Those will be put in big cases, and you just pick out what you like. You take a tray and go in and pick out anything you like, right off the hot out of the oven. It's a wonderful, another one, hold on. Wait, another one. Some buy more than others. She's going to be ready. Another one, dear? Well, in any case. Across the street is the Casa Luca, or, Luca's house. Casa Luca Market. Craig and I wanted to find some pots for this particular show. Here's a set of Mexican pots. And there are seven or eight pieces in them. They're $10 or something like this. So you're all right, Craig? Get some more. Hang on to these and some more round pots. I love this stuff. Now, you must be concerned about lead poisoning. We're going to talk about that today. But I tested all of those, and they're fine. The La Palma Tortilla Factory, this is all on 24th Street, just down the street, is a wonderful place. Joaquin has soaked hominy or corn kernels overnight, and then he grinds them up in order to make tortillas. In the old days, of course, this was done with a stone cutter, much like the one she has in front of her. But now you use a machine. This is Magrina Lopez and Sarah Gomez. And these two women make 200 to 250 dozen, you heard me, 200 to 250 dozen tortillas a day. They make it look so simple. They stand there and work on them all day. So I decided, if they could do it, why not? I'm going to try. I tell you, Greg looked at me and he said, well, we're both laughing so hard. It just doesn't work. This is my son Channing, who was supposed to be working, but of course, he decided that he was Mexican by choice, you see? And so he was on the front buying lunch. Channing, are you all right? Have you got your lunch yet? You're supposed to be working. Channing? Channing? What's the difference? It's just as well. He's a good worker when he's not eating Mexican food, but I can't get him away from the counter. One of the dishes that we should make, is I don't want you to buy this in a bottle, is a salsa. And a salsa is a very simple matter. What you want to do is to chop up Mexican salsa, fresh vegetable seasoning. Chop up about 4 tomatoes, and I need 5 jalapeno peppers. Now, here, let me find all this selection of things, wonderful things that are common in Mexico. This is the jalapeno pepper. It's a little rascal, and it is hot, hot, hot. I better show you one of these. When you cut these, you must not, you cut them and then take out the seeds and the cores, you see, and then chop them up. Now, do not touch your eyes. Listen to me. Do not touch your eyes. Do not touch your lips. Do not touch your ears. Do not touch your lovers. Don't touch anyone when you're cutting jalapeno peppers, or there will be pain to pay. 4 tomatoes, 5 jalapeno peppers, a couple of medium onions all chopped up. I'm going to do this in a hurry for you here. Medium onions, that should be enough. And one half of a sweet bell pepper. You understand what I mean? That's the normal green pepper, right? Not the little hot ones. And then we need to add, this is interesting, a cup of tomato sauce. Now remember, the tomato is a gift to us from the peoples from Mexico. There were no tomatoes in Italy. They came from Mexico through the United States and then went to Italy. The Spaniards took them back. We need a little garlic here. About a teaspoon of garlic all chopped up. And we need to put in some salt. I hope you're getting this recipe because this is a wonderful dish. Keeps in your refrigerator for several days and it will just keep collapsing and turning into a kind of a wonderful mush. 1.5 tablespoons of wine vinegar. Let's see, I want a white wine vinegar. Here we go. You can use red if you like, but good wine vinegar. 1.5 tablespoons, that'd be plenty. And that'd be plenty, my Lord. I sound like Justin Wilson, don't I? Sorry about my grammar. Sometimes I become too excited here. There we are. And I need some cilantro. Now this is a very interesting herb. Remember now, herbs are generally leaves and spices are generally seeds or roots. And this cilantro is fresh green coriander. And it's called Mexican parsley. And the Chinese love it too. And they call it parsley as well. Well, in any case, put in, a couple of tablespoons, I suppose. That's a little much. There we are. Mix this up and let it sit for a time, hour or so. And, well, let me show you. I have some already prepared because this really has to sit before you serve it. And it will just kind of collapse upon itself and make a wonderful salsa that is far superior to the salsas that you find in a jar. What do you do with it? Well, salsa is generally used to season other foods. You put it on top. Here's a salsa. You see? Here's some salsa ready to go. Isn't that beautiful stuff? Oh, it's good. And you can spice it up if you like. There's a product in the market. See if I have any here handy. Somebody find me some jalapeno sauce from La Victoria, will you? There should be a jar over there near you. Okay. This stuff is great. And this is what you can do if your taco sauce is flat or if... thanks, Craig. Thank you, friend. This is a good product. Oh, boy, is it hot. Salsa sauce, salsa jalapeno from the La Victoria people. No, I'm not plugging their company. I'm just telling you that this product is absolutely murder. And you can splash a little of this here and there, and things will look up. Mexican taste is not terribly hot, not like we think of things. It's not at all that, but it certainly is exciting. That's what I want you to see. All right. Hannah Fields tells me that a good guacamole is made thusly. And Hannah is a very dear friend of mine, a young lady who sent me the recipe on her engraved stationery. She used to test recipes for my earlier books because she was a child at the time, but she's a gorgeous young woman now, so I've made some variations on her recipe, but I don't think she'll mind. 2 avocados. Now, I've left the pit in the bowl. You see? I've left the pit in here because that supposedly prevents the avocado from going brown, black, blue, whatever it does. So mash that up. I'm going to do this very quickly. I have one already prepared for you. Mash it up with a fork. You don't want it too fine. And then you're going to add to that the juice of 1/2 of a lime. And, I don't know if you can see all of this today. I'm going to squeeze this in a hurry in my old mighty OJ because when you're doing Mexican food or Puerto Rican food or Jamaican cooking and you need a lot of lemon juice and lime juice, then it's easier to use one of these. Excuse me. When you're cooking and just need 1 lemon or lime, of course, and then use the old wooden lemon reamers you see me use. That's fine. Now I want 4 tablespoons of our salsa that we made. 1, 2, 3, 4. That should do us. We'll mix that up. I'll just leave this on the counter because it's so good. And we want some salt, some cumin. Cumin is a very common spice. Now, this is a seed, so we got to call it a spice. Just a pinch. Just a pinch. What did I tell you? Just a pinch of cumin will be plenty. Pinch means less than probably about a 1/16 of a teaspoon. That's what I mean by pinch. Or your grandma used to go, pinch, see? And it was generally a 1/16 of a teaspoon. We want about a half teaspoon of salt. There we go. That'll do us. And we want to add some black pepper. And I grind my own, always fresh. You've got to do that. There we go. I'm doing this. I know that it's common on Mexican-American menus, but I love guacamole. And we want a couple of green onions. Let's see, that's 1, 2, there we are. That should be enough for us. A couple of green onions, stir that up, and a tablespoon of cilantro. Now, I've varied Hannah's recipe. Darling, I hope it's all right. I hope it's okay. I've added cilantro in my recipe. You didn't, and you used lemon juice, and I used lime, and I made my own salsa. But otherwise, well, let me show you what you get. Mix this up, and then put it out for joy and celebration. I left the pit in it, you see, and I'm going to leave it in now because that'll supposedly keep it from going brown. So we'll set this out on a rug that was made in Mexico. The colors are typical of the Southwest. Oh, I just love that. I love the whole culture. All right, what's next? When you make tacos, let me show you that. Begin with one of these. When you make tacos, do it properly, please. You don't deep fry the corn thingies, none of that. A proper taco is made, first of all, by shredding the meat. Now, this is pork. So you take about a 3.5-pound pork roast, slice it up into thick slices, and pan brown it, salt and pepper, olive oil. Obviously, I've used some of this for another dish, you see. Anyhow, shred it up. After it cools, it'll shred nicely. It'll take about 2 hours to cook with about a cup of water in the pan. After you brown it first, salt and pepper, then a cup of water, and put the lid on and just let it simmer. In about 2 hours, it will shred evenly. It's just easily like that. Now, what all do we want to put in there? In this case, we're going to add some olive oil, onion, and green peppers that have been cooked ahead of time. Chow these in another pan, you see? I don't want to confuse with the amount here because that certainly wasn't 3.5 pounds of meat in the pan. I've got it in another pan. Put in some onions and green pepper that you've sauteed in olive oil, along with garlic. You got to have some garlic in this. We're making a rio paveja, a meat torn apart, old tattered clothes is what you start with. And to add to that now, we're going to add a bit of tomato sauce, another cup, and a little bit of salt. Don't forget the salt. And a bay leaf. Not much salt. There we go. 1 bay leaf. This kind of cooking is wonderful because once you get the dish finished, you see, you can stick it in the refrigerator, and if you haul it out 3 days later and heat it up, it's much better. It really is. Much better if you let it sit around for a time. Okay, what else? And we need a 1/2 cup of dry wine. You can use red or white, depending on your mood. Is that 1/2 cup yet? Perfect. All right. And we're going to add a little bit of cumin to that and some chili powder. About 1/2 teaspoon of cumin to 3.5 pounds of meat. So we don't want a lot. And about a teaspoon of chili pepper. Whoops. Smith, you're going overboard. All right. That's it. Now, simmer that with the lid on for another, give me a good half an hour or so that things begin to blend. And you will have, you can do this with chicken. You cook the chicken in a different way. You simmer the chicken first, of course, rather than frying it. You fry pork or beef. Chicken, you simply simmer in a pot and then tear it apart and then continue with the recipe. So here we have them. Ouch. These are not terribly hot. I've just kept them warm. Here's the pork that I've just prepared for you. That's what it looks like after a while of cooking, you see? Oh, the meat's just, look at this. It's just all stringy. We're going to make tacos, legitimate tacos. And here's a beef dish made of the same. That's wonderful. I get an old pot roast. Don't spend a lot of money, for heaven's sakes. And here's the chicken. There. Is it still moist and nice? Yes, it is. This meat should hold up well. Don't keep it hot, really hot. Just keep it warm in your oven. And this one I've not told you about yet, but I'm anxious to. Slice up boiled tongue, dice it, and saute it with onions and peppers, a little cumin, garlic, and a pinch of oregano. And you have a taco filling. Well, you just wouldn't believe it. You just wouldn't believe it. There. Now let me show you how to make a taco. The Mexican way, not the way that we normally use up here, us northerners, you know. We really don't understand the taco, I think. You use wheat tortillas, you see? And then just simply, I'm just put mine in a plate and put in, I'll do the pork one because that's my favorite. Put a bit of pork in. Remember how much he put in it at the Mexican market in Los Angeles? Isn't that beautiful? So, and then we'll put a little bit of lettuce. Who took the lettuce pot? Here it is. Nobody took it. It's sitting right here waiting for me. Here's a whole bunch of lettuce. Put some lettuce on top and perhaps some green onions and then some salsa. And if you're really into this sort of thing, you can add some sour cream. But that is a taco. And you can use this with any of these meats that I prepared. The tongue taco, let me put this out for you. The tongue taco is murder. It's so good. Oh, and madam, you know who you are in Des Moines. You wrote me a letter saying I mustn't use words like murder because you don't understand what I'm talking about. I'm talking about excitement. I'm sorry. If I shouldn't talk like that, I really apologize. All right, let's start bringing some things out. I have some refried beans down here. And in my refried beans, rather than just do them plain, they're pinto beans, you see. Rather than just making them plain, I add some chorizo. The chorizo sausage is, you can buy this in a Mexican market, or you can make your own, but it's spicy and vinegary. I had chorizo and some corn, pig skins. They're called chicones. These are deep fried pieces of pork skin, and you chop these up and mix them in with your, then the dish is really, really good. All right, let me put it over here. So we have some beans. There's so many things I want to show you. By the way, if you're going to buy this kind of pottery, be sure that you test it. You can find little lead testing kits. Let me show you. It's a simple matter of paper and a couple of solutions. And you put a piece of paper on a piece of pottery, put the drop of this on, then a drop of that, and it will tell you whether or not there's any lead in it. I hate to tell you, but I have an entire set of this pattern from China, yellow Nanking longevity pattern. I have 144 pieces. And I just found out that they're filled with lead. Now, in the old days, we used to get pottery from Mexico that was full of lead in the glaze. Test your pottery. It'll cost you $25 or so from one of these kits, and you'll do a couple hundred different pieces, and then you'll know what you have. All of mine was fine except one little piece I bought. So, but I'm careful. I've got nice guys for sons and a neat wife and good friends, so I don't want to do anything else. All right. We have 2 enchilada dishes for you. And I made my own sauce. You can do this. It is not a tomato-based sauce. And one is made with wonderful chicken and green sauce. I'm going to need that roast, please. Kit, will you bring that to me? Oh, there's so many things to show you. We're not going to have time to even get them out. And Craig, will you slice this up? This is Kit Hoover, who has helped us for so long. Thanks, Kit. Slice up this is a leg of goat. Leg of goat. Can you believe this? Have you got room?
I'll make some room.
I know you will. I know. Who else eats goat? It's fascinating.
Well,
I didn't know it was so delicious.
The Jamaicans make curry goat, which
Yes.
is very delicious.
Yes.
And the East Indians do, too. We're going to do a show on that
We're
also.
going to do a curry with that. If you get that, I think I have one more dish here somewhere. Here it is. Pastries. This is from a bakery here in Chicago. Which plate are you going to go to? I'm going to find some room. I think I'll just stick them right here in the middle, and then you can put your meat out here. That'd be great. These are those sugary pastries, loaded. They're loaded with shortening. Really, almost too much. That's fine. Stick it right out there. Okay, great. Thank you, sir. Now, you have Mexican food, a roast leg of goat. It's a very young goat. It's called a kid, you see. And pastries. Look at the things. These are beautiful fillings and enchiladas that really are Mexican. But the taco is hidden. Where did he go? The taco is very different than what we normally think of as a taco. These are good Mexican dishes, and I want you to try them. And please remember that if you're around 100 years from now, dear heart, you'd better speak Spanish. because that's going to be an enormous portion of our culture. No, I'm not threatened by that. No, I'm not threatened. Any people that can cook like this have got to have a profound history and certainly a good heart. So, look for some good Mexican food and study your Spanish. This is the Frugal Gourmet. Until I see you again, gracias. I bid you peace. Bye-bye.